Okay, so here we just can put multiple instructions. Now you can write your code in a file, and the keyword here is plain text. So plain text, like in Windows, is like Notepad or Notepad++. So any text editor that allow you to do any kind of formatting is not a plain text file. Okay, you should not write your code in any editor that is not plain text. So I think the default editor on Mac is not plain text. I think it's called Notes or something like that. Now you can have titles in Notes, right? You can have bold and you can have some bullet points and stuff like that, right? So that in order for you to see this highlighting and the bullet points, there is invisible code behind the scene in addition to the text that you're typing. So when you save the file, it's not just the what you wrote, it's not just what you see, there are invisible code behind it as well. So it's not suitable for programming. So you need to find a plain text file, a plain text editor, and write the code and save it with an extension .py, or short for Python. Okay, so here, for example, I'm gonna go to a directory, so something easy to reach. So I'm just gonna go to the C drive here, and I have a Python example. So this is the file I had before. So I'm just gonna create a new file just so that you see it. So it has to be text document, so Word document, Microsoft Word, any other rich text format, all this not suitable for programming. And the problem is that you can't see that there are invisible characters there behind the scene. Okay, so you cannot use them. You need to have plain text. So I'm just gonna call this hello, and then the extension should be py. Okay. Now I can open it with the IDLE that came with the installation. I can open it with a Notepad or Notepad++. Now the screenshot on the PowerPoint here is the Notepad++, which is like a kind of it still saves the file as plain text. So this coloring and formatting that you see is not saved in the file. So if you want to use the help of the coloring, you can use Notepad++, or you can use, like, we're gonna use VS Code now, which is the tool that we're gonna use. Okay, but it's just I want you to know that because not every environment you're gonna be working on has the VS Code, so you shouldn't be dependent on it. All right, so any plain text editor should be fine. I'm gonna open this with a general Notepad. Okay. Okay, now I'm just gonna write any Python code that I want and save it. Okay, now I'm gonna open the terminal here inside the directory. So if I'm inside the directory and open the terminal, it would, you see, it will open the terminal inside the directory. Okay, so if you didn't open it from inside the directory, you can always go back to it. So I'm just gonna cd. So this is if I open the terminal on the C, okay, and I want to go inside the directory where the file is, I can just cd or change directory, and then the name of the directory. It will take me inside. So you need to know where are you standing, okay, in order to refer to the file properly. So now I call the file hello.py. So I can say Python. So this is the same command I used before, but instead of just hitting enter so that it would open the interactive mode, I will refer to the file I just created, so hello.py. So now it will execute the code inside this file. All right. Now, so I just use the name of the file directly because I'm inside the directory where it is. If it's somewhere else, so let's say, for example, I'm gonna go back. So I'm not inside the directory. I can still refer to the file, but with the proper path. Okay. So it's easier when you are to step inside the directory so that you don't have to type the entire path. Okay. But if you're outside, you still want to access, you just, as long as you type the entire path, it should be fine. All right. Any questions so far? Okay. Now there is, we're not going to be using Jupyter notebooks in this course, but it's good for you to know what it is, because it's like if you look into online resources, it is used heavily. Okay. Now there are multiple free online environments that allow you to create Jupyter notebooks. One of them is the Google Drive. So if you have a Gmail account, you go to your drive in open new, and then sometimes it's not on top of the list, so you just need to scroll down and use Google Collaborate. Okay, so that's another environment in which you can write Python code, but chunk by chunk. It doesn't have to be line by line. Okay, you have what we call cell. So you see this. So this is the cell, and this is the output of that cell. And the cell doesn't have to have one line, it can have multiple lines. Okay. Now the file that is a notebook, the extension is IPYNB, so Interactive Python Notebook. Okay. And you can have two types of cells, either code cell or text cell. So it usually used to create tutorials. Okay, so text cell to explain, and then the code cell to put the code. Some people use it in projects as well, but it's not an ideal environment for development. When things get complicated and you need to debug your code, it's not ideal for debugging. Okay, but it's still used, and it can be converted to .py script. Okay, so let me show you that. I think if I just go to Google here, so I'm gonna go directly to the Google Drive. Now you can install a local version of it as well, but we're not gonna be using it in the course, so you don't have to worry about installing it locally. But just for you to be able to see, like when you see a tutorial online, you know what it is and you know how to interact with it. Okay, so you can see here I opened it. I can change the name. Okay, so I'm just going to call it test. All right, now here, this is a code cell, and we see this play button. It's a code cell. Okay, so let's say I'm gonna say print hello. Okay, now how do I execute this? I can click on this play button. I will execute this cell. All right, and it show me the results right away. It doesn't have to be one line, so I can say it can be 1 5 plus 5 and execute them both. All right, now like typically you will find text cells to explain. So this is a text cell for explanation. Okay. So you will not find this. So you're not gonna see the play button there. Okay, because this is just for explaining. You can drag it, like you can arrange and stuff like that. Yeah, I'm gonna ask for demos and stuff like that. All right. So this is another environment. Now, the one environment that we are gonna be using heavily is the integrated environment or VS Code.